Hello, I am Ariel Hicks, and you're listening to WITZ, the WITZ, the one place for all things music right here in Douglas County, Oregon. This recording is brought to you by 10 Down Bowling and Splits Bar and Grill, Bowling, Arcade, Outstanding Bar and Grill. Edward Jones. Edward Jones offers a personal approach to investing with 18,000 financial advisors ready to support your retirement, education savings, or insurance needs. Gene Bechtel School for Music, bechtelschool.com. Book a lesson, voice, piano, strings, percussion, winds, and brass, accepting students from pre-K to adult. Scholarships now available. Apply today. Spiderking Studios, spiderkingstudios.com. Commercials, recordings, and film. And the Douglas County Music Association, OregonDCMA@gmail.com. Scholarships, performance opportunities, and aid for students. 10 equals 2. How does that add up? If everyone gave $10, we would have enough funds to support our community for the next 2 years. Donating more makes a direct impact on the community by $100, scholarships can be made available. $500 gives students the access to instruments and studio space. And $1,000 allows us to support UCC students, UACT, UVAA, and Douglas County Music Education programs. If you or your business would like to consider a sponsorship or donation, please send an email to OregonDCMA@gmail.com or check out our Venmo at OregonDCMA. You can also bring a check made out to the Douglas County Music Association, DCMA, and drop it by or mail it to the Gene Bechtel School for Music. Consider giving today. And now for some old news. Colleen and Company review Rock Too Shy on Saturday, February 25th, with 2 hours of songs. Colleen and Gordon sat down and chatted with us last week. So if you missed it, head to our previous broadcast. But not right now. Finish watching this one and then head over there. Roseburg High School had their opening weekend of their musical 13. Tori Rose sang at Workman's Bar and Smokehouse in Winston last Saturday from 9 to 11 p.m. And an evening of klezmer to classical music enjoyed by those who went to the Whipple Fine Arts Center at 7 p.m. on February the 28th. And now it's time for some reviews. So I went hiking and I asked you guys the last broadcast, what are those things you put on your shoes? And they're called crampons, and they do work beautifully in snow and ice, but not so in mud. I ended up losing one on my last hike, so make sure that you put it on for the ice and snow and take them off before that mud gets you. We also have something exciting happening. It is the Gene Bechtel School for Music fundraiser. And we already have a few donations, so we'd like to thank Candace Hurwitz, Colin's sister-in-law, thank you so much, and Eric Snouts. Thank you so much for helping with repairs to the damages sustained at the Gene Bechtel School of Music. Every little bit helps, especially to Michael Wheeler. Please consider donating a little or a lot, and do it with our Venmo or a check or cash. But if you do Venmo, it's going to be at Oregon DCMA. Thank you so much. Check this out. The fabulous Del Montes will be performing this Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Urban Pizza. The Umpqua Farmers Market happens every Saturday from 9 to 1 at 1771 West Harvard. You can treat yourself to live music, fresh produce, baked goods, along with unique artist creations. And are you interested in sponsoring Spiderking Studios for their 2023 production year? Spiderking's brand new 2023 sponsorship form has everything that you need to know in order to get started with multiple different sponsorship levels and many different rewards, ranging from advertisements to exclusive behind-the-scenes access to all of Spiderking projects. Spiderking looks forward to working with sponsors and growing our relationships with our amazing community. Don't forget, Roseburg High School Theater presents 13, the musical, running March 3rd and 4th at 7 p.m. and March 5th at 2, so that is a matinee. Your parents are getting a divorce, your skin is rebelling, hormones are raging, and your crush is flaking. Oh yeah, and the biggest day of your life is right around the corner. Could you survive the dangers of being 13? You can figure this out by paying $5 if you're a student with an ID, or $10 if you're an adult, because perhaps we did make it to adulthood, so we can pay a little bit more to support those who are doing the High School Musical of 13 at Roseburg High. Tuesdays at Sunnyside Theater opens their stage from 6 to 10 p.m. Wednesday has Sunnyside Theater having their no-cover stand-up comedy night. Thursdays, which is, if you're watching the broadcast brand new when it goes up, that's tonight. Draper's opens their stage from 6 to 10. It's an open mic. Sunnyside Theater has trivia night. This week's game is Name That Tune. The doors open up at 6 and 7 p.m. is the trivia. Free admission and registration. Second Thursdays is open mic at Orrin Moore Artist and Mead. 5:30 sign up and 6 p.m. show. Bring your music, voice, poetry, and good cheer, and that will be on March 9th. For Friday, this Friday coming up, karaoke night at Sunnyside Theater. With 4 wireless mics, professional sound equipment, and their sound engineer will have you sounding like the rock star you are, 7 to 11 p.m. A little further down the calendar, on St. Patrick's Day, Widespread Haze will be at North 40 at 7 p.m. for the St. Patty's Day Bash. Saturdays, that's this Saturday, the 4th, coming up. At 7 p.m., a night of relevance at Sunnyside Theater with Daniel Thomas and Freddie on guitar and Patty on keyboard. This soul music free concert is sure to be a great night out. Coming up right now, for March, every Wednesday in March is considered Wings Day at North 40. It is an evening of live music with Neil Gregory Johnson, and there is a spicy competition with Wings Day, the hot wing eating contest. You heard that right, eating contest. Bring your friends, your appetite, and ears to enjoy live music and to test your taste buds. Win prizes and bragging rights as you devour their latest selection of wing flavors, perfectly paired with a cold craft brews and the sounds of Neil Gregory Johnson. Whether you're a seasoned wing-eating pro or just like looking for a fun night out, Wings Day is the perfect way to spice up your week. There's also mild wing options on the menu for those of you who would rather enjoy the flavor without the heat and competition. Sunnyside Weekly. You can check out their event lineup updated every weekend on their Facebook page as well as sunnysideroseburg.com. Also be sure to check out our Facebook page for happening events around Douglas County, and that is Douglas County Music Association. At last look, we have about 388 people tuned in. So since it's just me and it's just you watching, let me put a little competition in your pocket here. Let's reach 400 people by the next broadcast. So we have about 7 days to do this, and it's not that many people. So what you can do is share this broadcast and then have your friends share it or like it or comment, which would be wonderful. And this will help others plan their weekend ahead. Be like, oh, what's going on? This is what's going on. We tell you, you don't even have to read. I'm doing the reading for you. Woo! It also helps independent artists find a supportive platform, and that is right here. If you do music, if you do art, we want to meet you. We want to see you. And so if you want to be a guest on here, this is one good way. You can comment down below or send us an email, and we can get back to you. And if you are a Douglas County artist, we want to just make sure that you can be seen. And now for our feature presentation.
Why, hello, everybody. Let's welcome Winter Storm back on again. How are you doing, Winter Storm?
Cold bird.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You have anything to say to the audience, Winter Storm?
Icy roads. Be careful.
Wow, that's very insightful. You know, I think you get a bad rap, you know, being cold and miserable and whatever. But anyway, let's go into something a little more interesting. You know, how about that Roseburg High School musical that's being put on, 13? Let's cut to that.
Don't forget about me.
picture me, just another cool kid in NYC near the park and the Met. Life is sweet, Yankees in the Bronx, pretzels on the street, just how good can it get? Who'd have guessed Dad would be the stewardess, Mom cigarettes, and the lawyers I mean. Now I'm stressed, life is a disaster, and I'm cracking from the street, going totally insane, and I'm just about to turn, just about to turn, just about to turn. 13. Everything switches, 13. Everything turns around, 13. Ends up in stitches, 13. Hide away underground, 13. Can I get through it? 13. My life has changed overnight, 13. How do I do it? 13. Nothing is going right. The best and the worst and the most and the least and the crazy and the scary and the sad and on the edge. 12 years old, everything that used to be good as gold starts to crumble and crash. Sure that once you got the jump, everything really counts and there's no turning back. Life goes wrong suddenly, the yellow goes your hair's too long or your room isn't clean. Hold on. Every conversation is another lost cause. Make a list of my clothes and I'm just about to turn, now I'm gonna turn 13. I wanna turn 5. I wanna kill my mom. 13. I wanna bust 13. I wanna wonder all. 13. When do I get it? 13. All of the grown-ups talk. 13. How will I make it? 13. When am I old enough? Why is the world getting suddenly strange? Why am I taking totally weird? Why do I feel like it's in danger? Why do I feel like I'm disappeared? How will I get through a year of Spanish? How can I now put down the trend? How can I gain 20 pounds by Friday? How can I make my voice stop cracking? I wanna fly, wanna run, wanna try, wanna get wanna stop, wanna get out, wanna get my wrist. Ready? Here we go, together. Wanna grow my hair long, but all I keep hearing is no, you're not ready. It's time. I'm here, time. I'm not waiting till you're over. You're not ready. It's time. I'm here, time. I'm not waiting till you're over. You're not ready. It's time. It's time. I'm not waiting till you're over. Like your dishes, courses. Just settle down and hold your horses.
Hey everyone, this is Mrs. Smicker. I am the drama teacher at Roseburg High School, and I am here to talk to you about 13 the musical, which is performing right now at the high school. So 13 the musical, you may have heard of it because it was recently turned into a Netflix show, which I haven't seen, so I don't know how it is. I've heard mixed reviews, but the musical was actually written about 10 years ago. It's by Jason Robert Brown, who is very famous musical theater creator, lyricist, and it's based on a novel actually about the main character, Evan Goldman, and his move from New York. He's 12 years old. He moves from New York to a small town in Indiana and has total culture shock and is trying to make friends and figure out how he fits in, and he wants all the cool kids to come to his bar mitzvah, which is the big when you're 13, when you're Jewish, it's this huge party and it's all about, you know, this coming of age moment. So as he says, your bar mitzvah is it's like the Super Bowl for people who are Jewish, and how cool it is determines how cool you are at school. So anyway, he's waiting for that to happen. He moves to a new school and he's trying to figure out where he belongs, fit in with the cool kids, but really he's a geek. And everything that goes along with that. So it's a really fun play. And we have one more weekend of performances. So performances are this Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. in the Rose Theater, or Sunday at 2 p.m. And tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for students. You can buy tickets online at Showtix, the number 4, U, Y-O-U, Oh, I'll have to look that up. Anyway, tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for students, and you can buy them in advance online, or you can buy them at the door. So, and it's a really fun show for the whole family. There's a little kind of teenage boy level innuendo, but that's about as racy as it gets. There's great dancing, singing, and just some really good storytelling. So a little bit about the musical. 13 was originally created with a group of teenagers. So what's really neat about it is the first Broadway play to ever be performed by a wholly teenage group of actors and musicians. So that's something that's really neat about it. It's specifically written for teenagers to be performed by teenagers. Ariana Grande actually got her big kind of notice from this show. She played Lucy, who's kind of a, mean girl type. And so you might recognize a song that she sings. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So we have about 30 students are in the cast, and there are about 10 students who run things backstage. So that's stage management. We have a student who did the lighting design, student who did our sound design, 2 students who worked on sound design, the set is completely built by students. And that's something that we take a lot of pride in, that our shows are really created by the students. And we have really high expectations for ourselves. So we think that you're gonna see a really high quality show with an awesome set, killer music, because we have Miss Cherry, our choir director, and Mr. Hanson, our band director, as well as 3 amazing students playing in our band. And the band is actually on stage, featured during the performance, which is really cool. So a little bit about the process of making this show. We had auditions for it in the week before Christmas break. So students found out their roles then and could start listening to the music. And then we started actually rehearsing our kind of 4 or 5 day week rehearsals in January, right when we finished Christmas break. And we've been rehearsing about 5 days a week since then. So it's a huge time commitment to be in a rehearsal. And there's a lot of work. So you have to learn all of the songs. So Miss Cherry is our music director. So students will spend time with her in the choir room, learning the music. And then they spend time with our choreographers. We have 2 choreographers, Leo McLean. She's a former student and she is currently an IA here at RHS. She also helped with Murder on the Orient Express, which is the show we did in the fall. And then our other choreographer is Miss Bloomer, who is one of our special education teachers. So that's been really exciting. It's we've got a lot of people from our RHS family working on the show. And so students are learning choreography, they're learning their singing, and then they work with me, the director, who's connecting these pieces and helping with character and how scenes move from one song to the next, or one song to a sing, and where am I on stage, and all of those things. So that's a good amount of time. Normally, if you were a professional actor, you would be rehearsing 8 hours a day for at least 3 weeks, which is short now. It used to be 4 to 5 weeks. And then you would be performing like 8 shows a day or more. So we have limited time, but we have accomplished a lot during that time, which is really exciting. And a lot of that comes down to, all of us really putting in extra hours for kids to practice your dance moves. They're learning a lot of dances, to practice your singing, for us to work on all of the behind the scenes things that are taking place at the same time as our rehearsals. So we rehearsed for about 8 weeks, 7 weeks or so before we opened. And we've had a really amazing opening weekend, which is super exciting. So that's been a great response from the community, from families. Kids who've come seem to really like it. And Dr. Weber came and she really enjoyed it, and a lot of other teachers and administration. So that's been just really great to see the support that we have here. And we want to make work that's high quality, that really will invite the community in and that they'll expect to be seeing a really great show when they come to Roseburg High School. So a little bit about the students who are in our cast. Our lead actor is Heath Renault, and Heath has been in a number of shows at the high school, also at UAC. Last year, he played our Edward in Sense and Sensibility. Heath is a really talented actor. He's got a great voice, and he also is very funny. His comedic timing is fantastic, and as soon as he auditioned, we really knew that he was the right student for this role, and he just carries it off so well. I think that audiences are really delighted by him. He also has a great take on the character. It's this kid from New York who's been kind of spoiled maybe, so he's got a little bit of, he kind of thinks he knows everything, but also goes through a journey of really being humbled in the show and figuring out who he is, which ultimately is kind of a geek. When he first moves to Appleton, Indiana, which he calls a place where UFOs go to refuel, big shock from living in Manhattan, he meets a girl named Patrice, and Patrice is played by Neon Reed. Neon was in Murder on the Orient Express this fall. She played a very glamorous actress, and now she plays the kind of geeky outsider friend. And she also, I actually hadn't really thought about her for this role at first, but when she auditioned, she just broke all of our hearts. She's that girl who isn't in the cool crowd, but who's really awesome. You know, she dresses a little different. She doesn't read what they read or like what they like, as she says in the play. And Neon is just really the perfect person for this role as well. She's fun, she's quirky, but also she really sings from the heart. And she said that she is just channeling herself in middle school. And there's a real truth and vulnerability in her performance that I think is super special. Another really kind of cool thing about Neon is she's a senior, and I believe this fall is when she took her first acting class. So, and I think that was also her first play that she's been in. So she's always loved musicals and acting, but this year's the first time she's really gotten to do it, and she's just fantastic. Some of our other main actors, Emma Kaler, she plays Kendra, the kind of dumb cheerleader. Let's say she's a little naive. And then Brooke Rodriguez, who plays Lucy, who's kind of this snaky mean girl. They're fantastic. Brooke actually is a cheerleader, so she's helped our group of cheerleaders with some moves, as well as a friend of hers who's also helped. That's been really fun. And the girls who are the team of cheerleaders, or the cool kids, have had to work really hard on learning a lot of choreography and singing. We've got some killer singers in this group. The three girls who are kind of like the main backup singers, they are truly amazing together, and we got really lucky. So we've got the cheerleaders, we've got the jocks. So actually our main jock, the character's name is Brett. So Brett wants to date Kendra, but Lucy wants to get in the way. So the student who was originally cast in that role unfortunately had to step out of the show 2 weeks before opening night. What are you gonna do? So that was pretty stressful. And luckily, Miss Cherry knew a student who I also knew, Dominic Hunt, who was able to step in the last minute, and he's just been amazing. Dominic learned the entire play in 2 weeks, which is unbelievable, and has just done a fantastic job. He's a great singer, he's learning the moves, and dove right in and really has connected well with the cast. So that's been great. So Brett, the jock, he's got a group of, we call them the Goons, his buddies who are also trying to be cool, and they have some really fun numbers. We made them kind of the doo-wop background singers, so they get to put on these nice button-down jackets, and they just look really fun. So in the show, we do have some little shout-outs to different musicals or different music genres. There are a couple moments that are definitely inspired by Grease and the choreography, like Beauty School Dropout. That really inspired us, Grease Lightning. So we have some little moments that I think people who are familiar with those musicals will really enjoy. And Jason Robert Brown, the lyricist, also just really has some great references to musical genres that the audience will be very comfortable with or very familiar with. So I think that's really fun. One of the really fun things about this play when, Cosette McLean, who is one of the choreographers, she assistant directed Murder on the Orient Express. And we were talking about a musical, and I was originally going to do Little Shop of Horrors, but we didn't really have the time to make it. Ended up being too complicated technically. So we wanted something simpler, and she recommended this musical. And what we really loved about it, or what I fell in love with that she pointed out, was it's teenagers getting to play teenagers. And so often in a drama program, you're a teenager, but you're playing adult characters on stage a lot of the time. In Sense and Sensibility, which we did in the last spring, it was kind of half adult. Half the characters were definitely adults that they played, and half of them were maybe peer age. Murder on the Orient Express, all of them were characters who were at the youngest, like 25 or something, but all the way up to 60. So students are usually playing adults. And in this show, they just get to play teenagers and just be as teenagery as they possibly can be, which is something that's really fun. And I think that energy, that just all out teenage energy, comes through so well in the singing, in the choreography, in the performances. There's just this abundant enthusiasm and this like, who am I? I want to know who I am, and I want to try this and I want to try that, and what does it mean to be me, and celebrating identity and coming of age and all of those things. So we have kind of a lot of the sort of typical high school groups represented. We have the jocks and the skaters and the geeks and the gamers, or the nerds we're calling them, and the gamers are nerds. We have an amazing trio of nerds who have just embraced the nerdiness. They each rehearsal, Alex, who's our lead nerd, comes up with another idea, like little bow tie, or she comes in with her suspenders, hair clips. She also is now our queen of zits. So Evan, the main character at the beginning, talks about like, look at this, what is this? Like turning 13 and you're breaking out. So Alex is painting these really terrible looking, like red zits with a little white top. So every actor has 2 or 3 of them on their face, which I think is amazing. And the first time I saw it, I was like, I didn't know at first if they were real or not. And so I didn't want to say anything, but then I noticed everybody had them. So I figured they were makeup, but you don't necessarily want to reference that if it's not real. So that's pretty funny. But so we've got our nerds, we have our cosplayers, we have, obviously we've got the jocks, we've got the cheerleaders. Not sure if I'm forgetting any groups. And then kind of the outsiders, which is Patrice, and then Archie, her friend. He's in a wheelchair. In the original show, he has a muscular neurodegenerative disorder. I might be getting that wrong. So in the original version, he has braces, arm braces. But in ours, we decided to put Archie in a wheelchair. And we have another student who's in a wheelchair, which is, she wouldn't normally use one, but it actually is useful for her. So that is a nice representation as well. And each of them have a great buddy who is taking them around stage. But Archie, Brogan Wolf, who's playing that role, has gotten she's had to learn how to use the wheelchair well, and has gotten pretty great at doing some moves around the stage, which is pretty cool. We have someone rollerblading down the ramp of the set, which is awesome. That's Zero, and Zero's been practicing some really cool moves. So we get to represent a lot of different kinds of kids, and that's been really fun. And I think that all the students have really embraced that as well. And Miss Cherry and Mr. Hanson have embraced that. Miss Cherry showed up to our dress rehearsal decked out in her kind of 90s grunge. She had her flannel, she's got her black boots, red lipstick, her hair's all done like you know, and she had some major attitude. She was really bringing it. Mr. Hanson came with his black leather jacket. Also, he had some boots on, looking tough. So there's not enough polyester in Goodwill probably for me to dress how I did when I was a teenager, but that's been super fun too. So everyone has really embraced that part of it, the kind of teenage types, all those types that we all know, we're all so familiar with, you know? So one of the other crazy things is I've never directed a musical. So I've done a lot of theater. I am a professional theater maker. I worked as a director and an actor for about 20 years, and I've also created a few original plays before I came to teach at the high school. So this is my second year here, and it's been really amazing. But in that time, I did a lot of new work development and original work, and worked as an actress, you know, just a lot of different companies up in Portland. And I directed, but I had never directed a musical. So this was a first for me, and it was definitely a little intimidating. But the really awesome thing about a musical is you have the director and you have your music director, which is Miss Cherry, and she totally knows what she's doing. She's amazing. I had two choreographers, Cosette McLean, who is absolutely amazing and did a lot of the poppier numbers, and then Miss Bloomer, who's also awesome, and she did more of the kind of classic doo-wop numbers. So I had this amazing team of people around me, and that has been awesome because I didn't really know what I was doing. So, I mean, it's really, you're just putting pieces together and you're telling a story, just like a director. And I wouldn't be the music director, and I could probably come up with some dance moves, but they did a much better job than I did. So, and also some of the students helped do the choreography, which was really fun. Neon Reed, who plays Patrice, she is just fantastic, and she helped us with some of the choreography, also as dance captain. And that was awesome. We also had Z Westfall, who is a new theater practitioner here in town, also a sub at a lot of schools. They came in and did the fight choreography, which was really great. And then just with any show, it requires so much help from outside your little group of kids and the people making it. So we really wanted to have the band on stage, and it was just part of the aesthetic and the design. And I think because it's a really contemporary show, and the band is just, it's two guitars, bass, drums, and keys, it just would look really cool to have them on stage. What I didn't realize is that the Rose Theater is not set up for that. So as a drama teacher, you're expected to know a lot of things that most actor directors wouldn't know, like sound design. So I can pick out songs, but I don't know how to set up the space. I don't know how to do wireless mics. I don't know how to set up monitors, things like that. So we've been so lucky. Jeff and Jay from Redeemers Fellowship, that's where I go to church, but they came and they helped us, and they set up all of the sound that we needed for the band. They were totally amazing, showed our students how to run that. And then Alana McIntosh, who super experienced in theater, she's running our mics, because all the kids are, well, all the main singers are mic'd. So that's just been really, really amazing to have that kind of support. And it just brings the professionalism up for the show. It sounds great, and looks good, sounds great. And we could only do that by the people who've helped us out. Those desperate emails like, do you know how to do this? Could you help me, please? Which I have no qualms about asking people for help, but they really came through, because there's no way that I could have shot that. So that's been really, really awesome. I am about to go into Joanne's Fabric, one of my favorite places when I am directing a show, because you never know what you're going to need. Today I am buying some white felt that we need for our rabbi costume. So we have a group of rabbis in the show, and we're using white felt to create their prayer shawls. And I'm one prayer shawl short. So one of our poor guys, we were one robe short for opening weekend, which I just don't know how I missed it. So he didn't get to be in one of the most hilarious numbers called Being a Geek, which is all about, you know, when you're a geek, you're a geek. And embracing that, which is sung by a chorus of Jewish rabbis, which is pretty hilarious. So when you are a high school drama teacher, you're not just the director, you're a costume designer, you're the seamstress, you help build the set, and what else do you do? Well, you shop. So today we're at Joann's Fabrics, but Home Depot, also one of my favorites, and Dollar Tree, of course. Good old Walmart when you need some cheap costumes. And what's my other favorite place to go? That kind of covers it. So we're gonna get some white felt to make one more prayer shawl. Here we go. One of the cool things about this play also is that we actually cast every student who auditioned, which was such a cool thing to be able to do. And, you know, I don't know if RHS has done that before. I imagine that they have. I've only been here for a couple years. You know, we started kind of trying to start things up again after COVID. But it's amazing because students who might not normally get cast if the show was smaller have this opportunity to be on stage, to learn what the whole experience is like, and to make great friends and meet new people and learn some new skills, and for some to really shine in a way that they wouldn't have had the opportunity because maybe they were, you know, really shy at the audition, or had a bad day, or just were an underclassman, and so there was an upperclassman who would have been, you know, better for the role. Those kinds of things. And I think that's really special. So getting to cast every single person is really cool. It also is a challenge because then you have such a range of experience that there's a lot of needing to learn the ropes of doing a show. Like, you don't miss rehearsal. I'm pretty tough about that. Or, you know, just what the etiquette is for taking direction and working with other people and keeping your space clean and all of that. But it has been really special to be able to do that. And I hope that I can do that again, because it's totally chaotic and totally amazing at the same time.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is raining outside the studio, and earlier today it was snowing, so that is why my co-host Colin is not here, but I am. I braved the storm for you guys. I just want to let you know that we will be back next week, you know, winter storm permitting, you know, help us out. So be sure to tune in next week for a brand new broadcast featuring Douglas County art, music, and performance. Once again, this broadcast is brought to you by 10 Down Bowling and Splits Bar and Grill, Edward Jones, the Gene Bechtel School for Music, Spiderking Studios, and the Douglas County Music Association. I appreciate, and we appreciate all the people that work on this. Appreciate you guys tuning in and sharing and commenting on our Facebook page and our YouTubes, wherever you catch us. Please just send us a like and a shout out. That would be super. Thank you for tuning in today. I am Ariel, and I'll see you next time, hopefully with my co-host. Have a wonderful night, guys. Bye.